Most people use their voice every day and have no idea how it actually works. And you don't have to be a singer to depend on your voice. If you're a coach, a teacher, business owner, performer, your voice is your professional tool. In today's video, I'm going to talk about how the voice works, and having a better understanding how the voice works will make a difference in how you use it on a daily basis. So where does the voice actually start? We talk a lot about breathing from the tummy, or where does it actually originate? Well, it starts with the vocal folds. There are two bands of tissue, they're about 1 centimeter long, inside the throat, and they need to vibrate, and that's what causes sound, what creates sound. In order for the vocal folds to move to create that sound, we also need breath. So as the air passes from the lungs through the vocal folds, through the throat, the vocal folds start to vibrate, and that starts the sound. Now, we have the breath, we have the vocal folds, but then how do we actually create the sound? Where does it resonate in? And that's the throat and the mouth. Think of it like a guitar. The strings that you strum on are your vocal folds, and then you have the big wood box. That's your acoustic box, and that's your resonating sound, where the guitar makes the sound. And the same with the voice. The space where the throat and mouth is your resonating space. And that's why the voice varies from person to person. That's why some people have a higher voice, a lower voice, deeper voice, fuller voice, or sound a little higher. Sound originates from. So let's talk a little bit about breath support. Again, we need air to pass the throat in order for the vocal folds to start vibrating. Where do we breathe from though? Very often I hear, oh, we gotta breathe from the tummy because the air needs to come from the tummy. Well, let me just be clear. The air does not come from the tummy, but what happens when we take a breath in, the lungs expand, and with that, the diaphragm goes down, contracts, which then expands in the abdominal region, so it feels like you're breathing from the tummy. And the other part is when we take a breath in, we want to make sure that the air then goes out, because we can take a breath in, but then if we hold the breath, there is no air coming out. By the way, the vocal folds, they open up to let the air go in, and then once we start sound, basically on the exhale, the vocal folds start vibrating, and that's how the sound is created. So we have the breath. Breathing from the tummy, let's just say we got to take a breath in at first, because if I take a breath in, but then don't use it, I sound like this. What just happened? My voice changed. It changed because I actually didn't use my breath. I used just enough to get the cords vibrating, but you could hear my resonating space was not fully used because I didn't have enough breath support with it. So why am I talking about those different aspects? We got breathing, we got the vocal folds, the actual instrument, and then we got the resonating space. Because when you use your voice throughout the day and your voice gets tired or it starts to sound a little scratchy, that could be because maybe you're not breathing at all, or maybe you're breathing too much. Let's say you take a big breath in, like right now, you could see my shoulders come up. Well, if I breathe like this, with each breath, that's going to create some tension, and then the muscles in the throat are going to work harder because those vocal folds, they need to vibrate to make that sound. That's why how we breathe really matters. How much we breathe, how often we breathe, and where we breathe from. And then the vocal folds, it's a delicate but super powerful instrument. Again, I talked about how they need to vibrate. Anything that can impact that vibratory cycle can impact how you sound. So let's say if your cords are a little drier, that can result in hoarseness. If you use too much muscle tension when speaking, that can result in strain or sound a little hoarse then after a while. And in terms of resonance, so if I sound a little more nasally, what is that now? Is that because my vocal folds are tight? No, that's because I'm using different resonance as I'm talking. If I talk really low, okay, I'm talking in a lower register, lower sound, but I'm still using my voice box, my resonating sound, my space to create that sound. So where the sound sits when we speak or when we sing really matters. When we use our voice on a daily basis, it's really important that the breathing, the instrument itself, and the resonating space are aligned with each other in order for the voice to be healthy, sustainable, and powerful. It's not about having a perfect voice, it's about understanding how the voice works so you can use it with ease. And if you like this video, hit subscribe. We have more helpful videos coming because I'm here to support you for a healthy, powerful, and sustainable tool, your voice.